I think we really understand that adversity is the path, but when it comes down to it, a lot of us, and myself included, we shy away from adversity. And I think that's probably the allure of someone like yourself, or you specifically, is like you've tapped into that and you're always looking for that, like you're digging into your soul and looking for your limit. And I think people want to kind of tap into that. Is that what you feel as well? And second part of that, like, if people know, like, I know there's more that I can be doing and achieving and becoming, like, how do I tap into that? How do I go deeper with that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does totally, man. And yeah, people do shy away from, adversity in whether that's physical discomfort or whether that's, entering again into some environment that's causing you kind of mental discomfort or whatever it may be. We shy away from that, but that's built into our human nature. It's actually a survival mechanism. If you let your flesh have its way, it will just become a big fat lump of crap, because it's just its own survival mechanism. So it is difficult to push back against, what is in your DNA. And those survival mechanisms were built into us, and they worked in ancient man, but we live now in an environment where, we can have all the food we want to eat. We can sit as long as we want to sit, and so it just becomes destructive. And yeah, you do have to push back against that. And the thing that I love about the physical challenges, and a lot of people think, what, dude, I'm not into running, or I'm not into mountain biking, or I'm not into CrossFit. Like, that's not my thing. Like, there's nothing that can really force you to grow physically, mentally, and spiritually like a hard physical challenge. There's really nothing. I mean, there's just nothing that touches it. And so much of what you learn in a physical challenge, for me, say a 250-mile run, like the things that I learned during that 250-mile race, every single one of them are transferable to my day-to-day life, in my business, in my marriage, in my faith. Every single thing is transferable. It's all the same set of tools. If you're one of those people and you're feeling like you're shying away from putting that big challenge on the calendar and training for it, getting ready for it, preparing for it, and then going and doing it and working through the pain and working through the discomfort and all that comes along with that, if you're shying away from that, the only way to tap into it, the only way to get to the point that I'm at right now, where that's my natural state, like that's my default. The only way to become that type of person is by way of repetition. That's all it is, man. So like, if you're shying away from it, there's no other answer for you other than to tell you you're going to have to start with something. You're going to have to put something on the calendar that is going to challenge you. All right? You got to do it. And it doesn't have to be huge at first. It can just, for some people, it's walking into their local CrossFit gym for the first time. For some people, it's, I want to be able to run a mile without stopping. Like, it doesn't have to be something huge the first time, but you have to do it. Got to put it on the calendar. You got to work toward it. Then you have to achieve it. And then as soon as you achieve it, you have to pick the next thing. It never ends. See, there's no finish line to this. And that's what gets a lot of people all shaken up. They're always looking for a finish line, but you have to get through your head, there's no finish line, man. Like, as soon as you accomplish this thing, you have to put something else on the calendar, and you have to go and accomplish that, and again, and again, and again, for your entire life. And once you see who you're talking to right now, me, Chad, I am the result, I guess, about 17 years of repetitions of doing this. And every year, the challenges have gotten a little bigger, a little harder. Because as you grow in this, you have to do bigger things to challenge you on the same level. And so you're looking at the result of 17 years of of repetitions. I mean, I can't tell you how miserable it used to make me just to run a mile. As an 18-year-old kid decided he wanted to become a SEAL, like just to run a mile, dude, like it was miserable. And last year, I ran a 250-mile race through the desert of Arizona, the high mountain desert. It took me 17 years of repetitions to get from the point that I was miserable running a mile to now I'm running 250 miles, but I'm miserable running 250 miles. You know, I'm trying to hit that same point of, okay, here's the point. Here's how you know you're growing. Whenever you're doing something, whether it's a run, a CrossFit workout, a swim, a mountain bike ride, if it's physical for you, even if it's business, here's how you know you're growing in business or anything, spiritual, anything. When you hit the point during that activity or during that challenge where you don't want to do it anymore, you have to hit the point. When I go do a race, if say I run a 100-mile race and I cross the finish line and I say, that was fun. That was a good race. Maybe I even won the race. And I crossed the finish line and I'm like, man, that was a lot of fun. I didn't grow. I didn't grow on that race, just to be honest with you. But when you do something, when I do something and I hit that point where I'm like, I do not ever want to run again. I don't want to run another step. But then I make the decision to keep running. Then I know I'm growing. So that's the point you have to look for, man. In business, it's the same way. You should be hitting the point in business where you say, I hit this point all the time. As much as I love what I do, I hit this point all the time where I'm like, I don't freaking want to do this anymore, man. Like, I just want to do what I want to do. You know, I don't want to do this anymore. I know that then, and in that moment, if I choose to go and do what I know needs to be done, even though I don't want to do it, I know then my business is growing. But if I'm just enjoying everything and I'm like, this isn't challenging, this isn't putting any stress on me, this isn't maxing me out, this isn't keeping me up at night, well, I'm just stagnant, man. My business is stagnant. Here's the thing, too. It's interesting in business or in fitness or in any spiritual life. There is no such thing as just maintaining. It doesn't exist, man. You are either doing what I'm telling you to do. You're either pushing past that point that you want to go and you're continuing to move forward, or you are backing up. You're regressing. Maybe that doesn't make sense to you. You look at it as a maintenance level. You think, okay, I've built my business to whatever you want to be, $10 million in gross revenue every year. I'm a $10 million business. I'm just going to stay there, man, because I can live the lifestyle I want to live right there. And you decide, all right, I'm just going to maintain this. You might stay there for a few years, but eventually it's all going to crash and burn, dude. There's no finish line, man. So I hope that answers your question. Is repetition. If you want to tap into that, it takes the reps, man.